What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm Corey Insko. We got the whole gang here, whole gang back together. We got David. He's been here for a couple weeks, so not as exciting. But hey, David, how you doing?
Trust me, it's a very milquetoast greeting for myself, for fans, so it's okay. No, I'm glad to be here, Corey. Good to see you, and good to see Swift again. So
good to see you. Yeah, we got Matt Swift back behind the mic. How you doing, Matt?
Good. It's good to be back with you guys.
Yeah, good to have you back. We got a little bit of new news to talk about, or happenings, I guess I should say. Not necessarily news, but some happenings over the past week since we last recorded. So I want to get through that, and then obviously we'll get to some of your listener questions as well later in the show too. But let's just dive right into it. We always say, I just want to like a peek behind the curtain. We always are like, oh, we don't have a ton to talk about. We're gonna keep this one tight. So we're saying this now. 30 seconds in, we're like, this might be like a 45-minute episode. And you can look down in your podcast player of choice or YouTube and see how long we actually went for. Let's just see how wrong we were about how long we thought this would take us. But we had some preseason matches. So we're going to start there. The first one being the first, televised match, I feel like, on YouTube and on Bounce TV locally, if you were watching that. We had our first game at the Coachella Invitational against LA Galaxy. Ended in a 2-2 draw. I guess, what was it? Goals from Bronico, and I should have this in front of me who the second one was from,
with the PK.
But it was Abada. Yeah, it was a PK. That's right. So 2 goals there. Gave up 2 goals too to Galaxy. We won't go through the play-by-play of this, obviously, but I guess we can start out with your thoughts on the starting lineup, David, when you took a look at it.
I just have to put this on record because, I appreciate the Coachella Valley Invitational, or whatever it is, trying to stream these games, but the poor announcer. So this guy has obviously never watched any Charlotte FC matches ever. Because this is the same guy from last year that was calling Enzo Capetti. So he was pronouncing Enzo that way. He claimed Brant Bronico's goal was scored by Ben Bender and was adamant about it for the entire half. And then he said that Tim Ream hasn't played left back in any extended period of time in a very, very long time. So I just have to put down the record. I'm not to criticize the guy because I'm sure it's just like, hey, once a year, you're out here in Coachella. You want to do this for us? Sure, no problem. So I appreciate that. Like, I'm sure it's a very hard skill set, but it just cracked me up because I'm like, this guy's never watched Charlotte FC ever. And this is what we do.
Yeah. Not that we need to harp on this, but like this was something that stood out to me too. Because again, I get it. Like he's probably some guy who's like a local soccer guy. I have no clue who this guy is. Not trying to knock him. And I'm not expecting him to be an MLS expert in the role that he's playing in these matches. Like that's fine. But like he was so adamant about the Ream. The Ream one's the one that got me. He was just so flabbergasted by the fact that we put Tim Ream at left back, even that's what he played for like the end of the season and the playoff run is the position he played. And he kept bringing it up. He kept being like, okay, Tui Loma, when Tui Loma got subbed in, it's like Tui Loma is playing in the center. Tim Ream's still out there out wide. I'm like, yeah. That's where we play him sometimes.
And it's not like he's never played it while he was at Fulham either. I mean, it's like
he's just this guy was just beside himself that we put Tim Ream at left back, which is fine if it was the first time we'd ever done it, but it was not the first time we'd ever happened. Anyway, we don't need to go down that road too much, but it was very
back to your original question about the starting 11. So it was an interesting starting 11, and I know we got a few questions from our Discord and everything like that around this and preseason a little bit, but. It was unique. I mean, you had more starters in this game than you did with North Carolina FC. You had Patrick Agyemang up top starting at this game. Lilo Bada, Brant Bronico. The midfield was a little bit different. You had Brant, Westwood, Bender, that kind of thing going on. And the defense was pretty close to what you would kind of see. But you had some young players like Cambridge playing out wide as a starter. You had Thomas, who was there starting at left back for us in this game as well. So, this is the perfect time for Dean to be able to try different things, see what the depth is there, see what minutes are there. Am I concerned or upset about who started where? Do I expect Ben Bender to start 90 minutes for us against Seattle? No, but it's just it's an opportunity for him to see who it is.
Yeah. But David, where's Zaha? Where's Zaha? I'm looking at. Sorry, I pulled up Twitter because I refused to call it the other thing. Where the starting lineup is listed, and that's like the first 7 comments on the post.
It was like the first
in various languages. Or where is Zaha? And like increasing levels of that
anger. Was literally spammed in the YouTube because I watched the game on YouTube, and in the YouTube chat, that was literally everyone's like, "Is Zaha playing? Is Zaha on the bench?"
The internet is fun.
I guess going back to, and I know Swift even been on here in a few weeks, but like going back to the national appeal and power that we have now in a player like Zaha, right? That it's like, I don't want to say he's our Messi because it's a different kind of situation here, but it's the most recognizable player internationally that we probably have on our roster. And so people are like tuning in to be like, where's Zaha? Is Zaha playing? I want to see Zaha play in MLS. So I thought that's a unique thing, even though he wasn't there. I think he was still working on his visa, which I guess is officially completed today. But it's interesting to see that, right, Swift?
Yeah, no, it's funny, Corey, you're saying like how angry people get, like, where is he? Like mad at the team because he's not there. But it's a good time for him to get his visa and then get back before the season started. This is ideal. He's able to get a pretty much a full preseason. Maybe not quite as full, but this is a really good situation. But I do love when you have a player like this, it also brings in another form of fan. Maybe someone who hasn't really followed the team or really followed MLS. So they're asking a lot of questions, and sometimes they demand, like, where is he? What's going on? How are y'all so stupid not to play him? So, or you get, maybe the announcer guy who doesn't know where people play and what positions, and they get upset about it. So, it's pretty funny.
Good times. So again, we won't go through the play-by-play of it, but anything stand out to y'all watching the match, whether it be players or moments or just kind of overall vibes of things that you can take away from the preseason
notes. I've got paragraphs worth of analysis here, Corey and Swift. So I'm just
okay, great.
There was like 2 or 3 things that stood out for me. One was Brant Bronico's goal was a very nice goal. So I had to laugh because even Brant got on, I think, Twitter or whatever it's called now, and was like, Dad Bronico skills, or Dad. He put something out there because congratulations, by the way, to Brant and Rebecca for their newborn. But he celebrated that goal and credited it to him being a new dad in that space. But beautiful volley, beautiful shot on goal. It was a beautiful goal overall. So that was one thing that stood out. I just want to go on the record now and say, reflecting back, I'm not going to doubt Brant anymore. I'm going to say he starts for us in Seattle just because, I think he's going to be able to get us some significant minutes from that perspective. The other thing that we'll see that I liked was Patrick Agyemang coming in and just making some great runs, even if it's preseason, kind of making some good plays and those kind of things like that.
Yep.
And then our first round super draft pick, Mika Thomas was Micah.
I don't know. I'm guessing Micah.
I'm trying to be my best impression of the guy from Coachella there for a second there. So sorry if I mispronounced that for a bit here. But I thought he played pretty well for someone that's. We looked him up, and 19 years old, just came out of college, and not perfect, had some errant passes here and there and that kind of stuff, but held his own, against MLS quality starters there and against the Galaxy, and showed like he belonged already. Which I'm not going to sit here and hype him up and say he's our future left back and put the bank on him or anything like that, but seems like a good quality depth piece so far.
Yeah, no, I agree. He was one that stood out to me as well. Looking good in on the defensive side of things, and also in the attack, like building up on the left side as well too.
Yeah. Yep.
Working with the bottom, making some nice kind of forward moving passes and getting into space up in the attack. So, yeah, we'll kind of see how he develops, but I was impressed to seeing him playing like that. And some of the first action I've really seen him play in. So young guy draft pick. We've had some pretty good luck with some of those draft picks that end up playing some pretty big moments. So we'll see if, with our lack of depth, he gets some of those opportunities
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah, there's definitely some concern with the fan base about depth, especially in the back. We got rid of a couple of players. Yao Pedro kind of being a little surprise for me, but I think the thought was maybe we'll bring somebody in. It may not happen before the first game, but I'm sure something will get settled there. So it's nice to have somebody that can be a backup, be a second choice, and give us some, you know, little different looks back there. You've got Bill Tuoloma, who we paid a lot of money for, who has been sitting on the bench. It doesn't look like we're going to offload him. The good thing about him, he's a little versatile. He can play along the back line if needed. So I think we're okay there. I'm not all that concerned yet, but it is nice to have some of the youngsters being able to step in. I think of like Scardinia as well too. So it's their time to shine. And again, it kind of goes back to we've built this really good pipeline through the draft and through Crown Legacy. So I'm not quite as worried, but we definitely need some reinforcements. But it's good that this preseason, that's exactly what this is for someone like him to kind of step into a role and see what he can do.
Well, I was just to say too, like, and if something just crazy does happen, that's the nice thing of having JP on a loan is that you can recall him potentially back from his loan and bring him back if something just like altering happens, right?
Absolutely.
I guess in my mind at this point, I don't know. I mean, do you think we bring in someone that's like a starter type left back to kind of start more over Ream, or do you think it's more of like a depth piece for Ream Swift?
I think it would be a depth piece. It has to be the right player. I think we would probably, and I know we kind of get this thing about the team where we're cheap, but I think this is where you could go out and get someone at the end of a contract, maybe on a free, get somebody in to fill in. It's a long season. We got some cup games and everything too during the year, so you need some depth, but you don't have to break the bank per se on this one. I think, and I think the front office has shown that they can go out and get some really good value for some quality players.
Yeah, totally. Before we move on, I did want to mention another player that stood out to me because I got to keep harping on this because I named him as my breakout player of the year, but legitimately Abada. I was really impressed with the way he played and some really nice runs and nice passing and being in the right spots. I just thought he had some really nice moments. Obviously, he drew the penalty and scored the PK there to get the second goal. But just I really think this is a really important year and is a really good opportunity for him to take a big step forward in his role on the team and in the attack. And this is still not even with no BL, no Zaha to kind of keep bolstering that piece. But I think it's going to be a big year for him. And I started to see some flashes of that in the way he played in moments in that match. So wanted to give him a shout out too.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Abada can solidify himself on the right. We don't have to worry about Pep playing right or anything like that. Abada doesn't have to play left. We have a world-class player on the left now. We got Patrick up top, and I'm sure we'll get some more, reinforcements up there too. But yeah, for me, Corey, I totally agree. This is his year to really step up and really show everybody what he's all about. And he's been in the league a little bit, and sometimes it takes players a little bit to get used to the physicality and the intensity and the travel and stuff like that. So I'm with you. I'm looking forward for him to have a big year.
So I've got a question that just kind of popped up, and sorry for putting you both on the spot here for it, but I'll even put Swift on it. But just thinking about this preseason game and even just the preseason kind of all together, what about a player like Petrovic for you? Like, where do you think he fits in now? Because I say we spent a lot of money. Legacy spent a lot of money to bring him in, right? And then we were able to kind of do that funny. Well, we're going to buy him from Legacy and that kind of thing kind of move. Yes,
Stash
but
him.
like that was a move before Dean came in. And to me, it seems like Petrovic was kind of thrown into that, number 10 kind of cam position at times. But like when we first kind of heard about him, everyone thought of him as like a number 6 or a number 8, right? And I haven't really seen him kind of show up lately, and that's why I was curious. Like, where do you think he fits in on the roster at this point?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the front office sometimes, and I kind of go back to Sergio. I think it's difficult sometimes to really figure out in MLS who's a 6, who's an 8, who's a 10. I think with Pekovic, though, he's young, and there needs to be a replacement for Westwood at some point.
Yeah.
Bronico keeps surprising everybody and plays every single minute of every single game.
Every position.
He's gonna need a break too. So there is a succession plan, if you want to call it that. Maybe that's kind of how I'm seeing it. I don't need him to start right now. I need him to learn and to progress and just get better and watch players like Westwood. And then when it's time, maybe he falls into that role. But I think there is some vagueness about what is his best position in MLS.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing. I see him as, there's no reason to rush him. And you've got a pretty solid midfield right now. You've got someone like Westwood. Let him get some minutes here and there, but let him also kind of keep training and learning under someone like a Westwood. So that because he's toward the end of his career. At some point, he's gonna step aside, and having someone who's got that talent, got that promise, but can have the time to develop without putting that starting pressure on him.
Out of your mouth that Westwood's at the end of his career. You take it back now.
I said toward the end, or I mean,
I get it. I'm just kidding. I know.
I love Westwood. But I'm trying to think of like my age running around on the field, and it doesn't feel good.
My legs hurt just thinking about it.
All right. Speaking of, let's talk about the closed door, I guess, or at least it wasn't streamed. I don't know if it was actually technically closed door. But the second preseason match we had against Phoenix Rising, I believe it was, very much more of a depth starting lineup there. I mean, it was Toklamati, Smalls, Vargas, Pekovic, Koulibaly. I always get tripped up saying that. Gianni, Scardina, Tuloma, Privet, Forbes, and Marks. Again, just kind of jumping to the end here. We won that one 3-2. We had goals from Petkovic. We had one from Toklamati. And then we had the game-winning goal from Bronico, because of course he did.
Another dad, getting the vibes going on, man.
Getting the vibes. I mean, he's just unbeatable. Like we bring in everybody to take a starting spot. He's like, screw that. I'm going to score 2 goals in the preseason.
That's right.
One of them being an absolute banger against the Galaxy.
If you have not watched that goal, Swift or somebody else, you need to go back and watch that goal. It was a beautiful goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the highlights are all on the Twitter and whatever else they're posting on now too, so you can find them there. But yeah, again, this is much more of a let's get some younger guys, some depth pieces against non-MLS competition. I mean, we did sub in Cambridge and Abada, so there was some other players getting in there too. But I know we didn't get a chance to watch this, but anything from what you saw about it or heard about it stand out to y'all?
Nothing on my side. I mean, and that's the thing with the Coachella is that like there's a ton of closed doors. I think there's one tomorrow that's against Austin that's not streamed as well. So we're relying on the Charlotte FC admin to live tweet this game, which it's funny when you go back and look at it. I know they're doing their best, but it's kind of like Mark saves a goal and then it's like 15 minutes later shot on goal by Bronico, like that kind of thing. So it's just like but I mean it's cool. We played against our former assistant, his new team, I think, right?
Yep, that is
So
correct.
that's something, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. But no, I mean, if you want to go look, I mean, they'll have the highlights of the goals and stuff on there. But yeah, there's not a ton to take away from these. So yeah, like you said, we definitely have a closed door tomorrow against Austin. Well, tomorrow's we're recording. I guess it's today as
There
it
you
gets
go.
released because it is on Wednesday,
Yes.
I believe, right? Against Austin, and then Saturday the next televised one. Coachella against Portland, which I believe is the last match before the real season starts. So that'd be an interesting one to watch. I'm just curious to kind of see what kind of lineup we roll out there. Do we throw out like a true starting 11 now that Zaha's out in California? Do we throw out a true starting 11 for like 30 minutes and see what happens, and then pull in a bunch of depth pieces? Could be interesting to see. Again, because they haven't had Zaha there until today, it might we might see that actual starting lineup, or at least starting attack, come out there and get some run together and see how they link up before the season starts. So that'll be a good one to
Swift,
watch.
I know we talked about this on a show you weren't on, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. If you're Dean or the club, you're already on the West Coast for Coachella for this invitational, and the first game is an away game in Seattle the week after Coachella ends. Would you just keep the team out there, or would you fly them back to Charlotte and then go to Seattle from there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess it just depends on, are they, are the players spending too much time away from their
Sure.
family? Are there other commitments? Are there other things? Yeah, that's a good question. Ideally, that would be smart, but
Maybe we can do some
may be
sleuthing behind the scenes, Swift, and text some people, find out what's going to happen here. So
that is a long time to
it
pack
is
for.
because they were in Florida before this, weren't they? So
yeah, and then like you got to get all the jerseys and equipment and all these other things, and then like you kind of have to almost go home and reset and like wash clothes, wash and like go. So I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question.
It's okay. We got a billionaire owner. He could just pay for everyone's laundry to be done. I'm just joking.
Yeah,
I mean, could.
It's fine. It's fine. We got laundromats out there. All right, we're gonna jump to our next thing after the preseason. Matt, you mentioned wanting to talk about this because we hadn't brought it up in the past couple of weeks. But the Miguel Almiron deal, obviously this was a couple weeks ago or a week or so ago. He returned to Atlanta. Big deal there, coming back home to them. But we got what, 400,000
free
dollars, free money from this deal. Yeah, some Garber bucks. So you want to talk a little bit about that and how that all played out and some of the smart moves behind the scenes that led to that.
Yeah, bear with me for just a minute. I know when there were some folks that were putting some social media posts out about Miguel and the deal's coming and like all these details and everything like that, and it was getting everybody hyped up. It's just remember that like if a club reaches out to a team and a player and they're quote unquote linked, it kind of builds this false like hype, like, oh my God, we're getting this player. And it could just be like, hey, how much is this player? Like it could be as simple as that. So I just kind of, maybe warn fans like that sometimes, like, because I saw a lot of comments like, oh, we lost another opportunity. It's like, not necessarily. It was probably never really on the table. So, but this is what I think happened. And I think this is a brilliant move by the front office. So you have a discovery list, right? Each team has and I can't remember the exact number. It's like 5, 6, 7 players that they can have on the discovery list. I like to think that it is on a Google Drive that all the teams in MLS share together. But each team has like a list of players that they are interested in. And, other teams have to be like, okay, what's, this player's on this list and everything like that. So, and you can update that every single season, right? It's not set in stone, but you have to coordinate with all the other teams and stuff. So I think what happened last year is we did reach out to Miguel. We were interested in Miguel because we had him on our list. I think there's a couple of factors in play, and for folks that maybe are new to soccer, so hypothetically, let's say Newcastle wanted 12 million for Miguel, and Charlotte FC was like, yeah, we could do 12 million, not a problem. Not only do you have to pay the 12 million, then you have to negotiate with the player itself and the agent. Like, okay, what is this contract like? How much am I paying you, the player, a season? And usually a player like that's going to get $1 million, $2 million a year. And that's where deals can actually fall apart. It's not necessarily like the deal falls apart with how much you're going to pay the team. Usually it falls apart with the details with the player. I think Miguel wanted a pretty long contract. I think that was a big sticking point for Charlotte FC because he's 30 years old. And if he wants a 4 or 5 year contract and you're paying him $2 million a year, which I think that's probably what he would want, now you're paying like $20 million and you're paying a 34, 35-year-old $2 million to play. So I think what happened is we went after him the first year. It didn't work out. We got Pep in. People can debate if that worked or not. But the smart thing is to leave him on the discovery list, knowing, because as you're doing deals, other teams are in for the same player. Atlanta wanted to bring Miguel back. So you just leave him on the discovery list, knowing that Atlanta will probably get him. And from what I understand, Miguel wanted to go to Atlanta. So you're just like, I'll leave him on the list because that's free money. You now have to pay us knowing kind of like that's what's going to happen. And for Atlanta, they have a ton of money because they just sold some players and made a boatload of money. They made a boatload of money on selling Miguel the first time. Mm-hmm. So for Atlanta, it makes sense for them to bring a crowd favorite back because Atlanta did not do well this season, even though they did pretty good in the playoffs. So it just made sense for them. But I think it's a really good move by the front office being savvy and be like, we're going to go get Zaha. We need someone on the left. We don't really need someone on the right. We have Abada. Now we have Pep in the middle for the fraction of a cost. And now we're just going to get $400K in GAM. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Take that with a grain of salt, but to me, that's kind of what I've heard and what seems to have happened. I think it's a really good move on our part.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
And I think too they've updated the GAM rules too, where the GAM kind of rolls over. It doesn't expire to a certain extent now too. So it's not like if we have to spend it and lose it potentially now as well. So,
yeah. And that was the other thing. Like when that whole Miguel rumor thing was starting, I was like, we don't need Miguel. I mean, he's a good player and nice to have, but like we already have a right midfielder and we have depth there. We need a center mid. When we actually need a left winger, and we got Zaha, and I would rather have Zaha than Miguel. And so I don't know. And we got $400K in GAM out of the deal, so it's great.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad about it. Good stuff. All right, let's keep moving on because I'm trying to see how short we can make this episode. Not that I'm trying to be brief, but we said we were going to be quick, and
yeah, man, sounds good.
We've gone for a little bit. All right, we got Leagues Cup matches were announced. Was that today? Time means nothing anymore to me.
Yeah.
We announced our Leagues Cup opponents. All 3 games happening in Charlotte. We have. Let's pull it up here.
I've got it, Corey. If you need me to,
go.
The 3 opponents. I'm gonna butcher this. That's why I wanted to just try my best to do these.
I can't wait to hear David pronounce one.
I can't believe you volunteered for this.
It's actually a very easy name, but he's gonna say the full name.
So
Go
FC Juarez, CD Guadalajara, and CF Monterrey.
Yeah. But do you know who Guadalajara is?
I mean, it's Liga MX, but that
no, it's Chivas.
Oh, of course,
that's who Chivas is.
But yeah, it's okay.
I was like, oh, he could get this. Chivas is pretty easy. I was like, oh, he's gonna go for the full.
I'm just going off of the press release, sir. That's what it says.
I like it.
So, yeah.
I like it.
I think I did all right in a spot fill of saying those 3.
No, thought you did good.
We'll see if Pat from Hooligans listens to the show and critiques my pronunciation later, but that's okay. It's fine.
Yep. Anything jump out to you guys about any of those 3 matches?
I mean,
they're basically July 31st, August 7th, or August 3rd, and then August 7th. So
I mean, I'm not the biggest proponent to Leagues Cup. I know we talked about that offline and even on the previous shows, Corey. But to me, I do appreciate the format this year where it's all straight Liga MX teams versus us getting like one Liga MX team and then playing like Houston and us. And it's like this, like, do we really get hyped to play Houston a third time this year? You know what I mean? Like, like that's the only thing. And then the other thing I'm just in the back of my head is, God, it's gonna be hot to go to those games. Like, Jesus, please make it late in the evening. That's my only thing. So, but that's anything from you, Swift?
No, I for me, I think it's cool to play some teams that don't typically get to see.
Yes.
And I know some people don't like that we're playing all these games, but just a reminder that in England, they play the regular season, they play the FA Cup, they play the Carabao Cup. And if you're good enough, then you play Europa or you're in Champions League. So you're basically playing all day, every day. So I don't see a difference. I hate that Don Garber was like, schedule congestion. I'm like, shut up. Every league in the world plays multiple cups throughout the season, so it's no different.
Now, I do like to your point, David, too, about playing different teams. I mean, I like that we're getting to play 3 Mexican teams we haven't played before. Yeah. I think that always is the interesting, fun part about a tournament like this. I mean, I've been on record saying like I don't really care how well we played in the Leagues Cup. It's fine if we play these 3 matches and lose out. Like it doesn't really bother me any. But it is fun to have those matches. I remember how much fun the Cruz Azul match was last year. Like that was one of the more fun home matches we had. Just a rowdy crowd and a good match, and that's enjoyable. So looking forward to those 3.
Get Chivas fans in there. It's gonna be loud. It is loud.
Yeah.
No, it'll be fun. So I enjoy that aspect of it. Is I think that's what a cup in a lot of ways should be. It should be when you're playing different opposition than you're used to, and just kind of a fresh little match rather than playing just other MLS teams in just a different format. It feels kind of weird. So should be a lot of fun. And then the other bit of, I guess it's not really news, but happening today as we release this is the official kit launch of the super secret kit that definitely no one's ever seen and has not been leaked at all by literally the team itself. Like they just, hold on, can we just talk about the fact that like they haven't released the kit yet, but they just took a picture of Zaha holding it at the Hornets game? Like, what are we even, like, we're not even pretending anymore.
And I know that was probably like, and I know, so you're about to probably talk about it. I know there's probably like, they're like, screw it. Someone already ruined the surprise a little bit, but it's also pretty funny that they were just like, screw it. Here's a picture of him holding it with a Hornets player. So
yeah, that whole thing bothers me. You have a I'm not going to go down. I'm just not going to do it. Someone leaked it. Plenty of people have seen this kit in the past. One person decided to post it, and I'll just leave it at that. And then the team works really hard on trying to get content out and present this to the fans and like surprise people for once. But no, got to have somebody that's got to post it for attention. So
put their logo right in the center of the chest.
I mean, just come,
just
dude,
square in the middle.
Just give me a goddamn break. And so the team decided, like, hey, here we go. We'll let Zaha do his thing at the Hornets game.
Oh, I love it. No, I agree with you. The surprise would be more fun. But like every team's kit, it's not just a Charlotte thing. Like every single one at this point is like gets leaked, which is it's kind of silly because it does kind of take away the fun of the surprise. Like I would actually rather. I don't want to see the leaks necessarily. I would love for it to be like a big thing where like there's the video that unveils.
Did you see the
new kit
teaser
and, like,
today?
Everybody's excited about it.
Corey, on social media.
I did not.
Well, it was posted like 2 hours ago, so it's okay. I mean, you're not glued to your phone like I am, Corey. It's okay. I'm just they teased a little video. It's like a blacksmith coming out of a little shed, lighting the forge, and it that kind of thing, and he's about to strike an anvil or something like that, and then it just cuts off there. So kind of gets you the theme a little bit of what they're going after a little bit there. But in our I'm going to just do a quick plug here. In our super secret Discord, we held a little poll vote, and it's funny. Like we had a good chunk of people that were saying, and I think you were one of them, Corey, that the new kit is already one of their favorites without even officially seeing it yet. So
I love it. We talked about this last week, but I'm just using the secondary logo on the chest is what I've wanted to see for a while, and I just also, Yeah, you could say it's simpler. I mean, it's just black with the blue, piping and detail, but then you've got like the nice like crown detail kind of in the black itself. But I mean, other than that, it's not super intricate as far as the design, but I think it's really clean. It'll look nice on the field, and I just love seeing that CLTFC mark being used that way.
We should
I'm
do our
pumped about
most stereotypical YouTube thing here, Corey and Swift, and tomorrow do a live video of us watching the teaser or the trailer of it and our reactions to it. Even though we already know what it looks like,
The reaction video.
It's like a reaction video. I'm just like, whoa, I'm just kidding. Got it.
And we got to do the YouTube thumbnail like we did last time. I do have to say though, because we're talking about jerseys, you're wearing some purple over there, David.
Yeah, look at him.
That's a new thing, isn't it? Mr. Hater of the Purple. I think there's a question that's going to come up in our Q&A segment about this, but we can save some of it. Yeah. But we just got to point out you're wearing purple. But I will say I was surprised in the Discord, which you can join by supporting us on Patreon. Link in whatever show notes and stuff. There's a lot more purple love than I realized. At least, I mean, it's a small sample size, in the Discord group, but a lot more people were calling that their favorite kit, and I was like, oh, I mean, I like it, but I rank it pretty low as compared to the other ones. But I was never a hater of the purple, but I just didn't like it some other ones. But I was just honestly surprised that there were so many people who were like, yeah, that's my favorite one they've done.
David did not like it from the get go.
No, we're gonna save it.
We'll come back to this. We'll get back to this. Sorry.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. So on that note, let's go ahead and get into the Q&A. You know what? Let's just start with the question that we're already teasing to. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and get into it. Spencer asks, and I will say, I'm going to do a plug. I'm going to be that guy. Sorry. Most of these questions, especially the first chunk of questions we're going to ask, come from our Discord, which again, also, let's just say thank y'all to those of you who already joined. We literally launched this thing being like, who knows? Like, this could be us talking to each other. And we got a solid chunk of people day one, and has continued through the week of people joining, throwing us a few bucks for beer money, and joining the Discord. So thank y'all who've already joined. We truly, truly appreciate it. We're going to ask your questions. But also, if you're interested in joining and chatting with us and being part of our little community and supporting us on Patreon, you can go to the link for Patreon. I believe it's just patreon.com/Mint City Soccer Show. I think it's literally that simple. But we'll have it on our socials and everything too, and in the show notes. And once you join the Patreon, you'll get a link to join the Discord and chat with us there. So that's where these questions are coming from, with a handful from social media after that. But Spencer asks, and this was directly after the purple kit conversation Discord. What's a Charlotte FC take you had previously that you wish you could take back, David?
I'm perfect, so I don't have any takes I would take back. So I'm joking. So I even admitted it inside of there, and I text you guys for it, and I said I'll eat my crow and wear the purple kit on the show tonight. So is it? I'm kind of like you, Corey. It grew on me for one, but is it my favorite out of all the kits we had? Probably not, but it's still a good kit, and I was wrong for my purple hate. My Pop-Tart Ally purple whatever take I had 2 years ago on this. I don't know why. I even said in the Discord, I was like, I don't even know why I was upset about the kit. So I don't know. So that is one I definitely wish I could take back. I also wish I could take back my prediction for the first goal of a corner sailing across to Christian Fuchs and having a left-footed volley going into the upper corner of the goal. That was my prediction for our first ever goal, and then it ends up being Adam Armour. So I appreciate Spencer for poking some fun there, and I mean, again, going back to the Discord, I enjoy it. It's been fun to have some conversations there, but that is definitely one I will take back. But hey, I didn't pay full price for this. That's the other flip side. I only paid $25 for this, so
that's pretty good.
That makes me a little bit sad, knowing how much I paid for it.
Yes, it's also retired now, and it's 2 years old. You know what I mean? So it's
that's fine.
Sorry. How about you, Swift? Any takes you wish you could take back?
God, I feel like There's so many that I could probably take back. There's not like one that like really jumps out to me. I think there's a couple of players that I really thought would be like amazing here. I think like Sergio was one of them. Like he was going to be my guy. I think like Mackenzie Gaines, just because I was able, I was fortunate enough to announce him at the expansion draft. I thought he's going to be my guy. And then the guy that I have on the back of my jersey right now, Yuri, I'm like, yeah, he's going to be my guy. He's gone. So I'm like, okay, well, just not going to talk up any players really.
It's a lesson learned for Swift. Whatever player he gets on his jersey, don't expect him to be here very long.
Well, I have Westwood and Bronico on, yeah. And I have a bunch of Kalina kits.
What is a bunch? How many Kalina kits do you have?
All of them. Maybe. Well, let me take that back. I have one for every year.
All of
them. Not all. Oh, okay. Hey, and by the way, I'm going to say this. I think I can say this. There's Marks was wearing a mint goalkeeper kit. That is going to be for sale.
Okay.
I don't think I don't think I'm ruining anything.
You didn't put your logo and your face in the center of it, so I think you're fine.
Yeah. I think I'm saying that's not like breaking news or anything. Like
sure.
I think we're because I think some people were asking, especially like some folks in the Mint City Collective, clearly. So, yeah, I think that's going to be for sale.
Sweet.
And I will get it.
Corey, any takes on you?
I do want to. Oh, I was going to mention, I think this is similar to what Matt said. I don't think you said this player, though. But I remember being very positive when we recorded together. I guess it was like the Thanksgiving episode before last season. So, like, not last Thanksgiving, but the Thanksgiving before. We got together with who was it? Fat Bird and Steven, I think we're all in that room together. And I remember being very high on Capetti, like that he was the next year's gonna have like a breakout year. Yeah. Like we just needed some time, but like it was gonna work, and we were gonna be great with Capetti leading the attack, and that was just putting my faith in that player. I should have known better.
It's okay,
but it's
a cup of tea. Make mistakes. It's okay.
Cup of tea. Speaking, we're gonna stick to the kit situation because Max asked the question last week that was clearly directed at Matt Swift. That David answered anyway. But he basically wanted us to rank our kit. But he said, you can include goalie kits, you can include training tops. Like, what's your top 5? And I won't make you rank all of them. Like, what's your top 5 favorite Charlotte FC shirts that you have that they've ever released in any kind of way? You don't have to put them in order if you want. If you want to put them in order, you can. But if you just want to name 5 that you really like, you can do it that way too.
I think my favorite is actually the Explorer kit. I used to have this as my screensaver on my desktop computer. I've lived on the coast and the mountains, so this was my favorite. The black and mint one from the first season, I would say, is my second one. Purple, third one. And then maybe this new one coming out. We'll see. And then like our first jersey is nice, but it is very basic. It's just like the Arsenal jersey that I have. It's literally the same thing. I was not anticipating the training tops because I have all of the training tops. I'm looking at them and I'm trying to like, I don't know. I will say I do have a Crown Legacy jersey that I really, really like.
Oh, I'm
still waiting to get one of those. I need to get one of those, but it is what it is.
I heard that they are actually going to be for sale, but
really?
I don't. But things have changed since then. Since I was told that, so I don't.
No, you don't say. No,
so I don't know.
Yeah. All right, it's a good list. I think I said this last week. I think with the training tops, I like some of them, but like they do the same across the league, so they don't feel as special to me. Like I just like some of the looks, but it's like in general they're pretty universal.
Agreed.
So anyway, all right. Let's get into some of these other questions. I've actually never said this person's name out loud, and so I apologize in advance if I messed it up. And if y'all know the actual pronunciation, please let me know. But he's very active in comments and things like that. Is it Naifa? Michael?
Michael. That's his first name.
Why did you put the last name in here in the list? David. Hold on, I just gotta call it David. David, first of all, just puts. I knew the name. I forgot it was his last name. So yes,
sorry,
Michael,
I thought you for failure there, Corey. I'm sorry.
I immediately recognized the name, but I was like, "That." I feel like we've said his name before, and it's not been this complicated. But it's just because his last name. I usually probably just say Michael. Second thing is, we're gonna get to this question, but Philip Sanford, good friend of the show, good friend in general, made like this really long question, like thought out question. Said, like, "Yeah, feel free to edit it as needed to shorten it for the show," but he just kind of spelled out his thoughts in this question. And in our show notes, David literally simplified it down to like testimonials ? And that's the whole thing you wrote down. So now I have to go back to the episode mailbag to actually read what the real question was.
It's just shorthand. Shorthand.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a peek behind the curtain. I was copying and pasting from my phone into our show notes, and I didn't have an easy way to make that shorter, Corey. So I apologize.
Yeah. To be fair, now I'm gonna butcher the name so many times. That is what his screen name is on the Discord. So you just copied and pasted that. So I'll give it back to you. Anyway, his question.
I can start pulling the show notes and everything and getting people's names. If you
I'm sorry,
guys.
Killing me. I mean, you did all the work. I didn't do any of the work, so it's fine. All right. The question was.
It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Well, we talked about this a little bit before we started hitting record. Why did the person on YouTube think Pat was mid and expected him to win the Golden Boot to have a good year? I kind of get lost in this question, but I remember David got into it with some YouTube commenters, which I promptly said, "Why do you ever look at the comments of anything? Because that way leads to madness."
I'll just give some quick context, and I'll translate this into a second question for you guys to be able to answer a little bit, because I do think what I'm going to build off of this is worthwhile to have the conversation and not feed the troll that was on YouTube. But the guy was basically saying that Pat's got to be able to get 20 goals or 23 goals, and that means that's how we would have a successful player in Pat, which is beyond ridiculous, but whatever. But I guess my question of this is what, for both of you, what is expected of you from Pat from a goal assist contribution to be a quote unquote successful season? Because what I said in the chat, if we can get 15 goal contributions out of Pat for the season, I think that's pretty good. That's a top 10 MLS striker that we have on our team if you can get 15 goals, right? I think sorry, I butcher his name every single time. It's karma for me throwing Michael's name in there for you, Corey. But the guy from DC United scored 23 goals. Benteke, thank you. Scored 23 goals and won the Golden Boot. So this guy is expecting Pat to score 20 plus goals to be a successful season, aka win the Golden Boot as his first full year of a starter. So, anyways, but what would be successful for you two from Pat's output to be a successful season?
Golden Boot or bust. Okay. Commenters are always right.
The commenters are always right. It's our new motto. I think this season, I don't think Patrick is going to have to do as much as he has before. Like last season, he had to like single-handedly, we would boot the ball up the field. He would have to bring it down and like muscle dudes off and make something happen. With Zaha, and we've talked about Abada, maybe produce some more this year. I think it's going to free Pat up a lot more. And I actually, now we have Pep in the middle too, and we've kind of missed that playmaker. So I think it's going to be a different dynamic. Yeah. So Pat doesn't necessarily have to score all the time. Success for me is him playing well, playing consistently, scoring a few goals. Sure, absolutely, because that's his main job. But like setting some of these other players up too, I think he's already getting looks from clubs, overseas, and that's just going to continue. And now he's on the national team or kind of in that realm. He doesn't have to score 20 goals. That's absurd. But I mean, it'd be great if he does.
I would love it.
Sure. Not say that he can't, but I don't have those expectations for him. No way.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good point. Going back to talking about the LA Galaxy preseason match, I believe I remember, this is all just from memory, so excuse me if I get this wrong. But if the penalty that Abada
Correct.
earned
You're right.
was Patrick up at the top of the box makes a nice little pass to Abada, making a run in. I see him doing a lot of things like that, like kind of holding up the ball and then making some nice little passes to the other
Yep.
attacking players he has around him. I think there will still be times where a ball gets lobbed up to him or lobbed over to him, and he's in a great spot in the box. But like I think there's also gonna be a lot of times where he's making nice little passes and moves to set up other people as well.
And I think that's how Dean wants to play, and that's why I think you see someone like Tim Ream on the left. He wants his outside backs to be able, and his center backs to be able to play balls through the channels and up front. But now Pat can, bring the ball down and get it to someone who also can be a playmaker. I love Vargas, but the production just has not been there.
Yeah.
Now we got a world-class player there. Now you have Abada on the right. Now you have Pep in the middle. I think this is just going to be a different look this year, and I think it's exactly how kind of Dean, I think, is wanting to play.
Yep. All right, let's jump to the next question. We've touched on this a little bit, but I'll still read it out. Russell asked, who has impressed you the most so far this preseason? I feel like I'm on record with my Abada love so far, so I won't go more on that. But anybody else that maybe we haven't talked about or something you want to touch on, a player that you're impressed with what you've seen so far from them?
I think Cameron just played pretty well in preseason. He's made some moments and been present, had some opportunities, shots. I think, it's not someone that we're expecting to come in and play 90 minutes, but I think it's a good depth piece, someone that came back from an injury last year. And, I think that's what you expect of these guys a little bit, right? So I would say him. Abada's looked pretty good. I'm going to say Tim Ream because he saved a wonderful goal during the preseason. I don't know if you saw it or not, but he basically was behind Kalina and had to head the ball out of the goal. I'm just doing that because I love his golden locks of hair that they posted on social media today. If that's okay.
God, that picture is too much. How about you, Matt?
I haven't been able to watch a lot of the games, but I've, of course, been following on social media. The one player that I want to call out is Brant Bronico. Because every single season, we bring in players to play in the middle, maybe to take over his role. And every single season, he's like, stand the hell back. I'm the mayor. This is my position. 3 coaches start him, play him almost every single minute. Here he is in preseason. He's a dad. He's scoring goals. He's like, no one's taking this away. I don't care who you get from Portland or any other team anywhere in the world. Like, you're going to have to take this from me. And he's always in the mix. And like, God, if I played his position, I would hate Bronico because he's going to push you out of that position. He's just going to work you to death. So I'm just pumped that he just keeps going.
Yeah, no, agreed. All right, going on to Matt Chantry. If you had to pick 2 players or positions that you think might be the cause of us underperforming the first couple of months of the season, who or what would they be and why? I'll start with you this time, Matt, since we started with David last time, to put you on the spot.
I did not hear the question.
Two players or positions that you think might be the cause of us underperforming. Like, basically, if there are weak links in the lineup that might cause us to have a slow start, who or what would they be?
Oh, man. I don't like the question, Rusty. I always like Russell.
This is Chantry. You can yell.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, Chantry. I reject your question. No. I would think like the only thing I would worry about is a injury in the back very early. That could get us in trouble. But I'm look at our roster. I think we're solid from top to bottom, even if someone has to be subbed out or there is an injury. Like, our backups are pretty damn good.
Okay, no weak spots, all wins. David,
I'm gonna be a little bit more pessimistic than Swift here because I don't think we have weak spots per se from that, but I do think Pep having that knock with his leg, I worry about what that chemistry and dynamics going to be for him. Because like he did get rushed, he got thrown in during his initial loan as that center mid, and then kind of got shifted outside because it just seemed like it worked better. And then we still haven't really got that connection yet of him as the center mid or attacking mid there in that spot quite yet during the preseason. So, and it doesn't sound like his knee injury is serious. It's just more precautionary just to kind of make sure he doesn't tweak it or pull it more or whatever it is. But that worries me a little bit. I also just worry what that dynamic, and please don't take this wrong that I'm saying that this person's going to be bad. I just worry what that dynamic is going to be between him and Zaha, just based off of the limited time in preseason that we're going to see with them playing in live minutes, right? So we have Austin and Portland now the next 3 or 4 days, and then first game, right? So we're kind of, I think they're going to be fine long term. I have no problem with that, but I just worry what that's going to look like in a stadium in Seattle, pretty loud environment, good solid team. Just wonder what that translation is going to be like, especially that's going to be Zaha's first MLS minutes. Pep's going to be playing in a position he didn't really play much last year, and then we're just rolling with it. So that's the only two that I worry about. But I do agree with Swift. If there's an injury in the back line, that could derail us a little bit.
You might see a lineup that was similar to last season with Brand out there. Maybe until Pep is all the way in. But now you have Zaha in the mix who can make stuff happen himself. So I think we're in pretty good shape. We need reinforcements for sure, but I feel pretty good.
Yeah. Now David Biel was mine too for the exact reason you said, just not being able to play with him as much in the preseason. And that's why I look at the question as like not a weak spot necessarily. I said that word. That's not what Matt said. More of like what could cause us to underperform the first couple months. And I think that could just Biel's lack of getting to play with the team in preseason could cause a slow start in that spot. But I think ultimately I feel really good about everything. All right. Related question from Chris. Is it a bad idea to set our heights high for this season? I'm adding this part. Are we setting ourselves up for sadness?
I mean, to our defense, we also were here 3 years ago during the preseason going, we're going to host our first ever playoff game in the first season with MAR and TT Ortiz up top. You know what I mean? Like, so you could talk about bad takes we wish we could take back. No, I mean, it feels good to hype ourselves up. I think we're always very optimistic every offseason. It's part of being a fan. So, I don't think it's bad, but I'm not going to sit here and say I expect Pat to score 20 goals. I think that's setting yourself up for being a failure, but that's.
And I think what the danger is, and I don't know if this is where his question is coming from, is you set yourself up to be like too easily disappointed or mad at players or mad at the team, right? Like now it's like, oh, we expect to be amazing. And so like we lose one bad game and it's like everything's falling apart. The sky is falling. Zaha doesn't score the first 2 matches. Oh my God, what have we done? He's past his prime. Like we wasted. Like you can start to see some of that mentality when it's like you set your expectations too high, and there is a slow start from a player, or there is a bad match here or there, or they're still trying to gel and things are still trying to work. So I think like to me, I look at it as like have high expectations. I think this is. I mean, I don't think so. This is the best roster this team has put together. So we should have high expectations for what this team can do to build off of what they did last season and the season before. But also we should be realistic that like it doesn't mean they're going to come out and win every single match. Like it doesn't mean that we're going to have a golden boot winner on the team. Like we just don't really know how it's going to work. But I think it's going to be optimistic, but like it's also be realistic with our expectations, when the play starts, that we don't start yelling at people that we didn't do.
Sounds like you predicted the Facebook group already, Corey, with some of those comments.
This is why I'm not in any of those groups.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
I need that in my life.
Sorry, Swift, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No. I think the difference this year is like the pundits are not picking us to finish dead last, and so there is like this new dynamic now that we are expected by a lot more people to do well. So we don't have that kind of underdog mentality anymore. But if you're going to take yourself from this phase of a franchise and level up, like you have to have those expectations now. And now that we're in the season that we are, like it's time to progress. It's time to upgrade at all of our positions and everything like that. It is time for our players to go to all-star games and win awards and things like that. But I will say MLS is such a weird league. What I see happening sometimes is like if we lose, 2 games in a row and we tie 2 games, you would think like the sky is falling. But and if you were in the EPL, yes, you're probably not going to win the league because like you have teams like Liverpool who's lost once.
Right.
In MLS, like Columbus lost 6 games last year. Cincinnati lost 11 matches and finished third. So, and then, Columbus, like they lost 6 and drew 9 times. So just because if we get off to a bad start or we lose a couple of games in a row, it's way easier in MLS to bounce back. So just kind of keep that in mind throughout the season, even if we're expected to do well.
Yeah.
And falter a little bit. It's still okay.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. I'm going to keep working through these. Jeremy asks, which player who hasn't gotten a lot of minutes, either new or a Crown Legacy player, do you think is most likely to be a contributor this season? And I'm going to combine questions because Max asked a similar question, saying with Pat making the jump to stardom, who do you see as a next up from a legacy to FC development pipeline perspective? Slightly different questions, but I'm going to combine them because, like I said at the beginning of the show, we are going way over what we said we were going to do. So yeah, new player, either a Crown Legacy guy. Who do you think is the next one to step up to be a contributor for this team?
I mean, I'll just put it out there just because of depth. I think Scardinia or a player like that could come in and see some significant minutes as a sub or, kind of depth piece. Played for Legacy, moved up, that kind of thing from that point of view. That's what I would say. What about you, Swift?
Yeah, this one's tough because I feel like all of our positions are pretty solidified with like our main like older starters, so it's kind of hard, right? Like and this is a different dynamic now. We really haven't had this because last year you could talk about Tavares, and well, we could have talked about Brandon, but we had one coach that didn't play him. But anyway, so yeah, it's kind of hard to figure out where they would fit in. But we do have Leagues Cup, we have Open Cup, I guess now. Surprise, that's a weird thing, but like, so there's opportunities for players like that, Pekovic to to get minutes and everything. So yeah, but I think we're our lineups kind of set with veteran players.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. I'm gonna keep moving through. Let's see. Oh, I did want to jump in and say Jeremy also asked a great question that we don't necessarily need to answer, but this is a thing that if you would join the Discord, you would know about. What's the AI bot's obsession with tacos? Shouldn't it be with corn dogs, or are you turning over a new leaf in 2025? Does this mean our Manscaped code is no longer valid? We are in negotiations with Manscaped, by the way. We'll be back to you about that.
We've been linked to Manscaped, but now we got to iron out the details.
They want a 5-year deal versus a.
Yeah, they've turned down all of our offers so far.
Yeah. I mean, I would be down to be obsessed with tacos in addition to corn dogs. We can combine.
What if you make a corn dog taco?
Yes, there is.
Make a corn dog taco. Slice open a corn dog, like a hot dog or a taco, and then you stuff it with things like a taco.
Yeah. I mean, what is a hot dog but a bread taco?
That's very true. It's a very good point.
Just let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah.
Matt really thought about that for a second, which I really appreciated. Yeah. This is something I will get on a soapbox about, that a hot dog is not a sandwich, it's a taco. All right. That's the thing that's happening in the Discord. Yes. You should join it. There really is an AI bot that talks about tacos in a weird, like, medieval speed. I don't know what's happening. I truly have no idea. All right, let's jump to Philip's question that got truncated in the show notes. So I got to go back to the mailbag and read this full question. I also have to say I had to Google what a testimonial match was. No idea. So for those of you who are like me, apparently it's a thing where, like in the UK and some other countries, they'll play like basically an exhibition match for a certain player who's been around for a while. against a team maybe that has some kind of significance. I don't know. It's like a thing you do for a player that's been around. So anyway, apparently we've talked about this before, according to Philip. I believe him because he has a way better memory than I do. We're in our 4th season, and with the lack of roster stability in the league, are there testimonials in MLS? Like, does this even happen here? And he starts pointing out some players that we have. So if they last to the end of the season, we only have 2 guys who've been here for all 4 seasons, and that's Kalina and Bronico. 2 with 4 seasons and loan for part of it, so that's Bender and Marks. 2 with a partial first season and full 3 seasons, Byrne and Vargas. Should we look at potential testimonials in the 5th year instead of the European standard of 10 years? Did not know that was a thing. Should we just do away with milestones and try to do a testimonial for certain circumstances, like Crew Alexandra for Westy or Dynamo Zagreb for Kalina? Thoughts on testimonials, which again I did not know existed before like 2 hours ago.
I think if Messi wants it to happen, it's going to happen in MLS. So there will be a Messi testimonial that happens. It's like, congratulations, Messi, you've completed 2 full seasons with us. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty cool idea, though. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like, would it be something where, like, if to honor Bronico's tenure with us, would he play UNC Charlotte in a match or something like? You know what I mean? Like, or maybe I don't.
That could be a fun preseason friendly. Like,
it's all
I'd
about
be down
honoring
for that.
Bronico or something like that. I don't know.
I have an idea.
Let's hear it.
So yeah, testimonials is not really a thing here.
Okay.
And they're to me they're kind of strange. I don't know. I've watched testimonial games, and it's kind of like just another excuse to go to the stadium and watch people play soccer, which is great. But I don't think that's something that's going to catch on here. But what we should do is when a player, because there's like the Ring of Honor, we should have Knights of the Round Table.
You son of a bitch. It's crazy enough for it to work. I already know where you're heading to this. Yep.
But that's how you can honor certain players. They are deemed and knighted Knights of the Round Table.
Can I build off your idea? Can I take and run with it for a second?
It depends on how how dumb this is going to be.
And how about you take the crown, hold that crown back up for those who are watching on YouTube.
Yeah, he was holding up the little mini crown we got.
So you see how there's little diamonds or jewelry in it? What if you make it as a testimonial, say like Brant's the first player to reach 200 matches, and he gets a little diamond with like the Bronico, kind of like logo, like
his
the BB13 logo etched in diamond on the crown, and it just goes around the crown as we add more. I don't know, just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I think let's workshop it. Let's workshop it. Knights of the Round Table for anybody in the front office that's listening, which I'm sure you always take notes of our great ideas. So yeah, Knights of the Round Table. I think that's something that we should do. You got the Queen.
We got the Spooky Queen video. Looks like there's knights in that every single season, and like
I can't wait for the new video. It's almost time for the new acid trip video.
Can't wait.
It's gonna be awesome.
I was gonna make a point, and I can't.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I feel like I can't follow that. We're just gonna move on because that's where we're ending that part of the conversation. All right. Our last question. Chris asks, "What was the best thing you ate during the Super Bowl?" David, I'm gonna put you on first.
Fat guy go first. It's okay. I was let's see here. So we had. This is so just bad because I'm supposed to be working out a lot and trying to diet and everything like that. But we had nachos, wings, like little cocktail weenie things. Let's see here. We had like queso, hummus, all this stuff like that. I don't eat wings that often, but when I do, I really love them. So like I had some wings. That it's not something I usually make at home, but we reheated some wings that we bought somewhere, and it was pretty good. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't have an exciting answer. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in and just say we always just get, unless we're doing a party, which we didn't do a party this year. We just kind of were watching around the house. It was a beautiful day, so we were watching on the porch, which is amazing. But we just got some takeout wings and they were delicious, but nothing super
Do you get
exciting.
super spicy wings, Corey, or you do like?
I mean, I do like spicy. I tend to get just more of like a hot buffalo style. I don't get anything crazy. So I want the flavor, but I don't ever eat wings really. So like it's kind of a nice little Super Bowl thing. How about you, Matt? Do you have something more exciting than we do?
I am starving right now. Like I'm so.
It is
Actually, what got me was the corn dog taco thing. That really got me. So I went to
corn
Donnie.
dog is a hot dog burrito, by the way. If we want to continue this thing,
okay, all right. I went to Donnie, aka Fat Bird's house. He's a big Eagles fan, so but they had all types of food. His wife had a huge spread of like everything, and they made wings and had all these different types of wings and stuff. So that was pretty much what we had.
I'm gonna come back. The corn dog is a hot dog empanada. It's a fried.
Empanadas are like more like folded and pinched, right? Like we got to think about the shape of and the formation of the thing, like right. Burritos wrapped all the way around, fully enclosing it in a tubular situation.
Well, we will carry this conversation into the Discord and get everyone's opinion on this. I think it's a good combo.
Lasagna is like it's cake. It's cake. Lasagna's cake.
It's meat cake.
Meat cake.
Just got the layers show right there
with filling in between it. I've got a whole theory about this.
I'm so excited. I'm going to dig into this on Discord with you. I can't wait. It's going to be great.
You're going to get so mad. All right. That was our last question. Thank you again to everybody who asked questions in the Discord. We really appreciate it. And again, if you want to join and talk to the AI Taco Bot, you can go to our Patreon, throw us a few bucks. You'll get an immediate automatic invite to the Discord where you can join us and hang out in there. Talk to us, ask questions, especially as the season's getting ready to ramp up. I feel like it's going to be some pretty fun conversations while we watch matches there. So definitely please check that out. We'll put it on social, it'll be in the show notes, all that good stuff. Anything else from you guys before we head out?
No, just look forward to chatting about meat cake here in a little bit. So we'll go from there.
I think we went from making people hungry to making people kind of disgusted by saying the word meat cake multiple times.
I don't know. I'm still really hungry.
That's great. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it.
All right. See y'all next week.
See you guys.